Hello, friends. Welcome back to Learn English at Home 79. I'm your host, Sarah, and joining me is my good friend, Tom. Today, we'll explore an exciting story about the American Revolution, and we'll learn some useful English words along the way. Have you ever thought about how history can help you learn English? Share your answer in the comments.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here again. I love stories from history, and this one is full of action, interesting people, and new vocabulary. We'll pause and explain new words, so don't worry if something sounds unfamiliar. Let's get started.
Let's start our story. The American Revolution was a war of independence. People living in the 13 colonies of North America fought against Great Britain. Tom, what does colonies mean here?
Good question. A colony is a place that is ruled by another country. So, the 13 colonies were lands in America controlled by Britain. The people there were called colonial people. Now let's explain that word. Colonial means something related to a colony.
That's clear. So, the colonial people wanted freedom from British rule. But why did they want independence?
One big reason was taxes. The British made the colonists pay taxes, which many people thought was unfair. Do you know what unfair means? It means something is not just or not right.
The colonists were especially angry about the stamp tax. Let's pause here to explain what a stamp is in this context. Tom?
A stamp was a special marker paper you had to buy and put on printed things like newspapers. If you didn't have the stamp, you couldn't sell the paper. So, the stamp tax was a tax you paid for this mark.
And the colonists called this taxation without representation. Let's break that down. Taxation is the act of charging people money called taxes. Representation means having someone to speak or act for you in government.
Exactly. The colonists had to pay taxes, but they had no representation in the British Parliament. Parliament is the group of people who make laws in Britain. Imagine paying money to a club, but you're not allowed to vote on the rules. That's what made them angry.
People in the colonies had different opinions. Some wanted freedom and were called patriots. Others supported British rule and were called loyalists. Tom, can you explain those words?
Sure. A patriot is a person who loves their country and wants it to be free. In this story, patriots wanted independence from Britain. A loyalist is someone who stays loyal or faithful to their country or leader, so loyalists supported the British king.
That's helpful. So, the patriots and loyalists sometimes argued or even fought each other. It must have been a tense time.
Before the big fighting, there were protests. One famous protest was the Boston Tea Party. In 1773, some Bostonians boarded British ships and dumped 342 chests of tea into the harbor. Let's explain chest.
A chest is a big, strong box used for storing things. In the Boston Tea Party, the colonists threw big wooden boxes or chests full of tea into the water to protest a tea tax. Can you imagine that scene?
Yes, it must have been wild. This protest was one way the Patriots showed they were serious about taxation without representation.
Soon after, the first shots were fired in Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts. This started the war, or as we call it, a battle. Tom, what does battle mean?
Battle means a fight between two groups, usually in a war. A battle can be small or large, but it's always a conflict. The American Revolution had many important battles.
Before full-scale war broke out, there were smaller events. Let's explain scale. In this case, scale means the size or level of something. So, a full-scale war is a big, serious war.
Many famous people were involved. Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams worked together to write the Declaration of Independence. Let's explain declaration.
A declaration is an official statement or announcement. The Declaration of Independence was the colonists' way to say, "We are a free country now."
And we shouldn't forget George Washington. He was the first president, but before that, he was the commander-in-chief of the Patriot Army. Commander means the leader of an army.
The British soldiers were called redcoats because they wore red uniforms. Tom, can you explain uniform for our listeners?
Of course! A uniform is special clothing that everyone in a group wears, like a team or the army. So, the British Army all wore red jackets. The British also had help from German mercenary soldiers called Hessians.
And what's a mercenary?
A mercenary is a soldier who fights for money, not for their own country. The British paid the Hessians to help them fight the Patriots.
The Patriots didn't fight alone. France joined the war on their side in 1778, which helped them win a big battle at Yorktown, Virginia. After this, the British had to surrender. Tom, could you explain surrender?
Yes! To surrender means to stop fighting and admit you cannot win. The British Army gave up at Yorktown. This was a huge moment in the war.
But the war didn't end right away. It was not until 1783 that Great Britain officially recognized the United States as an independent nation in the Treaty of Paris.
Let's pause and think. The colonists protested because they felt the taxes were unfair. Even today, people sometimes protest when they think something is not right. Can you think of a time when you or someone you know spoke up about something unfair?
That's a great question. It's important to remember that speaking up can lead to big changes. The American Revolution shows us how people working together can change history. What would you do if you thought something was unfair in your school or community? Now let's review today's new words. I'll say the word and Tom will give an example sentence. Ready? First, battle.
Sure, battle. There was a big battle between two armies.
Chest.
Chest. The pirates put the gold in a wooden chest.
Colonial.
Colonial. The colonial people wanted to make their own rules.
Commander.
Commander. The commander led the soldiers into the city.
Declaration.
Declaration. She made a declaration that surprised everyone.
Loyalist.
Loyalist. The loyalists stayed true to the king.
Mercenary.
Mercenary. The army hired a mercenary to help fight.
Parliament.
Parliament. The law was passed by the parliament.
Patriot.
Patriot. The patriot wanted his country to be free.
Representation.
Representation. Our group needs representation at the meeting.
Scale.
Scale. The project grew to a large scale.
Stamp.
Stamp. You need a stamp to mail the letter.
Surrender.
Surrender. The team had to surrender when they lost.
Taxation.
Taxation. Taxation means paying money to the government.
Unfair.
Unfair. It felt unfair when only some students got prizes.
Uniform.
Uniform. The students all wore the same uniform.
To remember new words, try writing them in a notebook with your own example sentences. You can even draw pictures or make flashcards. Repeating words out loud helps too. Now, here's a question for you. Have you ever seen something unfair in your life? What did you do or what would you do? Tell us your answer in the comments or send us a message. We love hearing your stories.
That's right! Sharing your thoughts in English is a great way to practice. And remember, there are no wrong answers. We're all here to learn together.
Thank you for joining us today on Learn English at Home 79. We hope you enjoyed learning about the American Revolution and picked up some new English words.
Keep practicing, everyone. Learning a language takes time, but every word you learn is a step forward. Be proud of your progress.
Remember, practice a little every day and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Stay curious and keep exploring new topics in English.
See you next time and keep shining as an English learner. Here's a tip. Watch movies or listen to songs in English and try to catch new words. Goodbye, everyone.